When I came onto the flat earth thing, I knew the maps had to be wrong. I knew there was a lot of stuff wrong with it. And then last summer, when I came across Concave, I realized that growing up, going swimming in the ocean, the water was always curving up. It was always higher out than it was at shore. So, which never made sense to me growing up, as we were told the water should be curving down. So I'm going to play you something, and this just crushes it. Sorry, your snow globe dome thing is a total psyop. People need to wake up, and you've been sold a lot of lemons. I do enjoy good lemonade, but I'm going to play you the video. This is Zenith's video from today. He went to the beach on the East Coast somewhere, and this pretty much does away with your flat Earth.
Anyone looking into alternative Earth cosmologies will inevitably run across three main options for the general alleged shape of the Earth. Either Earth is a level plane devoid of any curvature, a convex sphere upon which we live outside, or lastly, a concave sphere upon which we live inside. The majority of my work contains undeniable proof as to what the objective reality of this situation is, and debunks the majority belief that Earth is a convex spinning ball. But in this video, I will specifically address and debunk the claim that Earth is concave. In my books and videos, you will find hundreds upon hundreds of proofs that Earth is devoid of any convex curvature, and the vast majority of these proofs double to show that Earth is also devoid of any concave curvature. For example, the natural physics of large bodies of water is to seek its lowest level, with the surface of all standing water remaining perfectly flat from end to end of its container. Whether in a beaker, bottle, or bathtub, pond, lake, or ocean, this tangible substance, which we can all confirm for ourselves, is incapable of supporting itself into any shape whatsoever. Regardless of what shape the ground beneath takes, the surface of standing water remains perfectly horizontal. This alone destroys the unscientific, unobservable, unrepeatable claim that Earth is a concave or convex ball. The perfectly flat horizon seen for hundreds upon hundreds of miles at the highest altitude any amateur balloon, camera, or human has ever reached also shows beyond any shadow of a doubt that Earth is not concave or convex. Earth is not concave or convex.
The P900. Yep, there we have it. I'm seeing boats below the shoreline way across Lake St. Clair. There it is. See that sailboat? Pow. Underneath the opposite shoreline. Earth is concave, baby. I was wrong. It's not flat. I am right on the frickin' water. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do a 360 at this altitude so you can see exactly where my camera is. Right here.
Earth is not concave.
Seasons within the concave Earth. I animate the sun oscillating around the celestial sphere every 6 months. So When it's in the Tropic of Cancer, you'll notice that you get 24 hours of daylight on the North Pole and 24 hours of darkness on the South Pole. And conversely, when the sun is in the south, you'll see that you will get 24 hours of daylight on the South Pole and 24 hours of darkness on the North Pole.
Earth is not concave.
Okay. Camera altitude? 2-3 inches maybe? There you have it. Boats beneath the opposite shoreline. 1, 2.
Earth is not concave.
It's just a matter of finding a vessel that's the right distance away, and you can see that water's concave.
Earth is not concave.
They're approximately halfway between me and the opposite shoreline, and because they're the appropriate distance away, they're appearing in the dip in the middle.
Earth is not concave. Earth is not concave.
If you understand within the concave Earth, it's all taken care of simply by the fact that there's two different velocities. The velocity of the sun and the velocity of the celestial sphere, which is slightly faster than the sun. A sidereal year, or a sidereal day, is 4 minutes faster than the sun. So after a full year's time, the sun is simply just going to be 1/70th of a degree in a different location than the year before. The planets are all magnetically affected by the sun. So when the sun is inclined like that, the ecliptic of the planets, that magnetic ecliptic imaginary path, is going to be influenced by it as well. There's a real retrograde motion to the planets. It's not just an apparent retrograde motion caused by a supposed spinning Earth. It's simply the fact that when the planets go behind the celestial sphere opposite the sun, they're going to get confused magnetically. So they're going to go the other way for a little bit until they catch up with the sun's influence again, and then go the same way that they were going before. Mercury and Venus, they're going to be orbiting the sun. So when they go behind the sun, they're going to get confused as well. So that's how retrograde happens within the concave Earth.
Earth is not concave. Earth is not concave or convex. For Earth to be a ball of the dimensions claimed means that it must curve, upwards or downwards, at a rate of h equals r minus r cos 2 over 2r, where h equals height, r equals radius, and s equals arc length. When calculated for up to nearly 1,000 miles, which is plenty far for any practical observations we can make, this trigonometrical formula can also be simplified to 7.98 inches per mile squared and receive the same results. This means an easily visible and measurable curvature of 6 feet after 3 miles, 24 feet after 6 miles, 54 feet after 9 miles, and so on, would and must exist if we truly lived on a concave or convex Earth 24,900 miles in circumference. Countless experiments using lasers, spirit levels, theodolites, sextants, telescopes, super zoom cameras, and Navy railguns have all confirmed, however, that no such alleged curvature exists.
Stake 1 has the laser 30 centimeters above the water. Stake 2, he has the laser centered on that stake at 30 centimeters above the water. Then they sailed to the center between the two stakes, and they were going to measure how high the laser was above the water using another stake. Okay, so my friends sailed back to my position. Together we made a measurement in the middle of the distance between the two stakes. The measurement showed that the distance from the water surface to the beam was 39 to 40 centimeters. We decided to check if everything was okay with the laser and the stakes. Everything was still perfectly fine. We made another measurement in the middle and it showed the same thing as previously. The beam was about 40 centimeters above the water surface. So in other words, on both ends, the laser was 30 centimeters above the surface of the water on both shorelines. However, in the center, the laser was 40 centimeters above the water surface, which would indicate the water actually curved like this. So it actually showed that the lake had some sort of concavity to it.
Earth is not concave. Evidence. This time, quoting Samuel Rowbotham's Earth Not a Globe, he shows a picture and quotes from the book discussing how early hot air balloonists, expecting to see convex curvature beneath them due to their globe beliefs, were shocked that the appearance was instead concave because the horizon rose to eye level along with them while the Earth below them continued to sink away. The fact that the horizon literally rises up along with the observer as high as they go shows that we are dealing with a subjective element of vision, not objective tangible reality. If that was the case, then pilots viewing the horizon straight in front of them, flying level on long-haul flights, would, and must eventually come face to face with and inevitably crash into the supposed concave Earth horizon directly in front of them.
Force and the sink force of the electromagnetic flux. There's an inversely proportional relationship between the two. Blue arrows represent the centripetal convergent lift force. It draws objects to the center, where the current is attracted to the moving convex surface of the celestial sphere. The lift force is stronger in the center and weaker at the edge. That is why planets have such an easy time staying aloft toward the center, because there's not that much sink force and plenty of lift force. If it weren't for the magnetic sun attracting the planets, they probably would crash into the celestial sphere. The lift force cohabitates with the centrifugal sink force, which has the inverse proportion effect. The sink force is the either push force we all experience on the Earth or in the Earth. As it moves, the divergent fluxes put the brakes on the Earth, preventing any rotation. Remember Wheeler's gyroscope on his huge neodymium iron-borne magnet? The centripetal lift force perpetuated the magnet in a viscous free flux near the center. Yet the centrifugal divergent sink force stopped the gyro on the edge. That's what's happening with the Earth. The sink force generates a depression to the west. That's why bullets sink to the west and rise to the east, because there's a greater clamping down effect for projectiles shot into the downstream of the sink force. This is also what causes eastward deflection of flying objects. They seek the least resistance, which will always be found eastward of the meridian. The sink force is so strong at the edge it holds the water at bay. The ether's sink force eliminates the Coriolis or the Atmos effect from being the cause of this phenomenon. Since you should know by now, we are not on a rotating planet. Now we can understand what causes gyroscopes to liberate themselves from the thick sink force happening at the edge. The rotation of the gyro is stripping off its sink force hold and aligning itself with a much weaker lift force at that level to allow it to rise. The vertical axis seeks to magnetically align itself with the central octahedron. That's why the airplane gyro stays pretty much vertical wherever it flies within the Earth.
But this time focusing specifically on zooming in objects which have disappeared into the horizon. Islands, lighthouses, or ships which are partially obscured or completely eclipsed by the horizon can be brought back into full view with the aid of binoculars, telescopes, or zoom cameras.
The Milky Way band is a band, it's not a spiral galaxy. It's actually a literal band that separates the celestial sphere into two different hemispheres, two different magnetically influenced hemispheres that actually steer the sun. So the Milky Way band has a function. So when the sun crosses that galactic plane every 6 months, it's also exhibited by the Ulysses satellite. They show that every 6 months the sun is oscillating back and forth. So when it crosses that plane, it steers the sun the other direction. Like when it's up north like that, it's going to steer the sun south, and then conversely the same when it goes down south. When the sun goes down south, when it crosses that plane, it's going to steer the sun back up north. So it's all being influenced by that dividing line, that Milky Way dividing line. It has a purpose, it has a function. Everything works within the concave Earth. Sunlight is bending around the inside of the Earth. That's how we get lunar eclipses. There's an opposite funnel-shaped void area opposite the sun. When the moon goes through that void area, it gets eclipsed. North or south of that void area, it's just simply going to be a full moon. So everything works in the concave Earth. You've seen that my animation here, I made it a wide angle, so I wanted to include everything, so that's why it kind of looks kind of funky, but it's Occam's razor. The simplest answer is always the best answer. So.
We do live in a sphere. In a sphere. We're on the inside of the sphere.